Hey, what's up, everybody? Video 44 coming at you with another video. Okay, all right. The Lakers have a game tonight at the Crow. It's going to be against the Pacers, and I just looked at the report for who's playing and who's not, so I'll give you the rundown of that. First of all, our team, same old thing. Nunn and AD are still out, even though AD is closer. He's been cleared for, I think, certain types of practices, not full-on contact, I don't believe, but he's ramping it up pretty good. So we'll be seeing him before the end of this road trip, we believe. Kendrick Nunn had a setback of some sort. That's all I really know at this point. That's why I didn't make a video on it. I didn't look it up. Kendrick Nunn, the Kendrick Nunn topic for me is one of great irritation. I'm very irritated by the notion of the situation that we gave this dude our mid-level exception and haven't seen him at all. Now, that ain't nobody's fault. Certainly not his. I don't think the Lakers signed him thinking he was going to be damaged goods. It just is what it is. I am very much personally irritated by the entire thing, so I don't talk about it very much. But it is what it is. He's still out. Okay, so that's what we know. LeBron James is probable. He's going to play. And Dwight Howard is probable. He's dealing with some type of knee thing. So on the Pacers side of the game, Malcolm Brogdon is questionable. Jeremy Lamb is questionable. TJ McConnell is out. TJ Warren is out. And the guy that we're after, Miles Turner, is out with an ankle. It seems to be a pretty bad ankle injury, too. It's going to keep him out for a while. So trading him may be tricky for the Pacers, but it may be to the advantage of the teams that are trying to trade for him if they're willing to take on him as damaged goods, so to speak. So that's a very interesting situation for the Lakers, particularly. The value on Miles Turner is slightly lower than it usually is, and the demand may be as well because of it. So that's what we know. This is a team, the Pacers, that we are obviously having conversations about. You're seeing players running around on their team that could be on our team next week, like literally. So that's very, very intriguing about this matchup. And vice versa. A guy like THT may have to put on the Pacer uniform next week for all we know. So just be prepared for that possibility, even though I don't know that the Lakers are going to do a deal now. But, a lot of stuff that the Pacers have is on the market. They are one of the main teams talking. So because of it, you really don't know what to expect. Obviously, we know for a fact they're going to be down there point guard. Unless Malcolm Brogdon's going to go, which is up in the air, they definitely do not have their backup guy who's very, very, very talented in TJ McConnell. So that's a good thing. He's very scrappy, very good at just about doing everything that his team needs him to do, fills up the box score, and sometimes he has all-star type games. You just really, really are very happy that you ain't got to deal with TJ McConnell tonight. But unfortunately, you do have to deal with Domantas Sabonis. You do have to deal with Chris Duarte. You do have to deal with Caris LeVert. Those guys are all healthy, and they come in. This is not a good team. I'm not going to sit here and pretend like the Pacers are a good team. They have a worse record than we do, and I could argue they have more. They have roster issues. Obviously they're trying to make some moves. They have achieved a great deal for what it is I think their roster is. My take on them at the beginning of the season in my Pacer Talk video, where I broke down the team, was that they were just a boring team. They were good, but not great, and they had no reason. They had no one there to make you want to watch their team. They could go after a guy like Ben Simmons and get a draw, and that'll help them with the momentum of their team. But they've underachieved even worse than they should have. They've played bad. They've had horrible defensive efforts and things of that nature. So that's kind of what you can kind of hang your hat on in a way, is understanding that you're not going up against the Denver Nuggets. You're not going up against a team that's playing well right now. You're going up against a team who, if you put forth the same effort you did against Utah, you should probably win this game. So that's what I'm wondering if the Lakers are going to do. I'm not going to sit here and say I'm expecting that, because the Lakers have conditioned me to expect the unexpected and to not really know what to expect, to be honest with you. But as I always say, betting on them to lose is probably a good bet, unfortunately. But not tonight. Not tonight. With the players that they have missing, I could foresee a situation where Domantas Sabonis has a big night. Obviously, with us going small ball and with him being a bruiser, that's a bad combination. So I expect he's going to have an all-star level stat night, in my opinion. And Chris Doherty's coming off a pretty good game. He's been injured, in and out of their lineup, stuff like that. This is the type of game where a guy like Chris Doherty's going to make a name for himself like Bones Highland if we allow him to. So be aware of that. He's one of the top rookies of this class, and unfortunately he just had some injury issues that kind of derailed his momentum. But he's a very, very consistent two-guard who can shoot the ball, score a lot. He's smart. And he's a good compliment to Malcolm Brogdon out there. So if both of those guys are playing, they're going to dice you up. So that's what I expect to see from the Pacers. Just in general, we know Caris LeVert is a problem. When he's healthy, he can be an all-star level player as well, and he's trying to play up his value. So I would be very wary about him as well, because he's probably looking at this as a potential opportunity for him to maybe get moved. You know what I mean, to the Lakers. Like, I don't know if that's something he would desire or not, but I don't expect he's going to come into this building and play poorly at all. I do not expect that. So that's somebody you need to be very careful not to leave open, not to take lightly. He should be very much circled on the scouting report. You must pay attention to Caris LeVert. So, yeah, we can come out and play well and beat this team. We can come out and play well and lose to this team if certain players on their team have big games. So it's one of those situations where, because these are two bad teams, you just have to expect they're both going to do things that are going to give each other's opportunities to win. We've played a lot of overtime games at home against the Pacers. We've lost buzzer beaters at home against the Pacers. These games are etched in my skull forever. And I'm telling you, Pacers are one of those teams, like the Hawks, like some of these other teams that come in only once a year, where we do have some times where we lose to these teams. Most years when we know we're not supposed to. So this is a year where we know we can lose to anybody, and I expect us to be wide awake for a cushion type game against a team that's not so great. But again, they have all-star level players, so be very careful not to take them for granted or think you can walk in here and just play halfway and beat them. I think what's encouraging for the Lakers is the fact that we saw effort in the last game. We saw guys respond well to getting blown out. Now, I'm going to be one to point this out for the rest of eternity. The Utah Jazz shot as poorly as any team is going to shoot in any basketball game, period. They shot bad, and they shot a lot, and it's why we were in a position to ultimately take advantage of them. Add that to the idea that we finally gave Stanley Johnson an opportunity to shine in a real way, and he took full advantage of it and willed this team to success. So, as far as I'm concerned, it's that killer instinct that's ultimately been lacking as a whole from this team over the last month or so. And we saw a little bit of that in the last game with that player. We saw a little bit more of it in the previous two games where we lost, with Austin Reeves roaring back in the fourth quarter, ultimately to just lose because the team did not put starters on the floor during his run. I think the Lakers, though, at this point, look at their situation and they say, okay, well, because of these little things that we're seeing, we ultimately don't know if we believe in our coach. So the rumors are running around is that he was playing for his life in this last game. And I'd imagine if he was playing for his life in this last game, he can't really afford to lose by 20, 25, 30, 40 points tonight. So he's probably still playing for his coaching job right now. And to be honest with you, I'm patient. You know, I don't think that the Lakers are the type of organization that's going to hastily fire anyone. They've obviously had two coaches that they're still paying from the past right now. And they don't want to make it a third. We have one with this coach, so a lot of people are on board with saying keep him is the way to go. The team isn't what it needs to be, so he shouldn't be blamed, blah, blah, blah. Those are all very good points, but they're only a portion of what's going on there. And if you follow me, you understand why you can still feel that way and still support moving on from Frank Vogel, because at the end of the day, we can't get what we need to make him the best version of himself as a coach. We have offensive players. He's a defensive coach. We need an offensive coach that can get something out of a very, very, very unorthodox fit in Russell Westbrook, LeBron James, and Anthony Davis. Couple that with players going in and out of the lineups. You need coaches who know how to make something out of nothing. He's not really good at those things, as he's proven, and we need them. So while it's not his fault the team isn't what it should be, it's not his fault the guys don't have effort and all of that good stuff, it is his fault that we run certain lineups. It is his fault that we don't have a center out there on a regular basis because he doesn't play the centers we have. And it is ultimately his fault that all of that comes down to guys not giving you effort, because if those things were in place, you would see that effort, in my opinion. So it's not, those things go hand in hand. Effort and proper schematics go hand in hand. Guys are going to play hard when they have the tools to do what it is they can do to win. And then we just didn't have that out there for this season. Part of that's on Rob. Most of it's on Rob and LeBron. But Vogel has to do more with what he has. And if I can surmise ways of him being able to do more with what he has, then he should be able to do that too. And we haven't seen that out there. So as far as I'm concerned, not only should he be fired because of that, but because he didn't keep his coaching staff strong enough to help supplement his weaknesses. He did that in a good job of that the first year by making sure he had Lionel Hollins and Jason Kidd. he should have continued to make sure he had those type of superior minds to help him along the way to make his coaching staff strong. That is a decision that ultimately should get him fired for not making sure that coaching staff was stronger than it is. So that is also something I'm looking at as an angle. But even more so, it's just you can do what you can do. Lakers don't have a lot of cap space, don't have a lot of different things they can do to get better. So they have to do what they can. In my opinion, changing the coaching staff ultimately gives you an opportunity to get a better offense in here, which can better play to those strengths of the players that you have. Thus, over time, over the next several months, maybe we can play those players up, their value up, rather than continue to stay stagnant as is in this system. So that is one aspect of the conversation. I think probably the most important one of it. Just can't do nothing else. So, all in all, you've heard all of this a million times if you listen to me. And at this point, it's all about now just seeing them make these moves that we ultimately hope they'll make. I've gotten over the great Jeremy Grant stuff. I've gotten over the Miles Turner stuff. I just think those pieces are going to be a long shot for us to win those battles in terms of trying to outbid other teams. I just don't think we can win that. We're going to need to just do the small moves that can help us stack assets. Stack assets. We can start that process now, but it's not really something that's going to pay off until probably summertime. So this season is, in fact, in jeopardy. And if you listen to me and you believe like I believe, it's a wash. We're not winning a championship. So you just got to work with that understanding and move forward. For the time being, though, we're happy. We're coming off a win. And we're also poised to do anything. Play well, play horribly. Just don't know. And that's not what you want from a Laker team this far into the season. So it just is what it is. We'll be watching the Pacers tonight. Luckily, again, we're going up against a team that's been struggling too. So maybe we can steal ourselves a victory at home before we go out on this big-time road trip, Grammy road trip. So that's going to be tough. We got some really, really impossible matchups coming up on the East Coast. The East is stronger than it's ever been. So now with this Grammy trip, you're not just going to the East to play a bunch of games. You're going to the stronger conference to play the toughest part of your schedule. So we better be aware that Anthony Davis will be back at some point during this road trip, from what I understand, and it'll be right on time. But if we're going to get him back out there to run the same stuff and play the same way, I don't expect him to be any better, or for us as a team to be that much better with him. No different than we had struggles at the beginning of the season when he wasn't hurt at all. So his conditioning, where he's at, how well he's feeling, how fast he moves is going to determine a lot of what I think we'll see out there. And quite frankly, he's underwhelmed greatly this season. So I don't have high hopes for AD coming back being some dominant center or some stupid crap like that, like a lot of people are. You play him at the 4 and temper your expectations, slow down your offense to fit his speed, which is damn near impossible since you're running with Russell Westbrook. If you can find a way to do that, that way he isn't necessarily a deterrent to your pace and a deterrent to your rhythm, for which he was to start the season. A lot of that had to do with the crap we were running, as I continue to say. Then we can, if everything falls into place, we'll get a good AD and we'll get a good Lakers run out of the second half of the season. But if he comes back the same guy and we're running the same crap, we're not going to win. It's going to be the same thing, dude. At the end of the day, he's not a center, and we need to be real about that, just like Bron in the center. So that's what I got to say, man. That is it. Pacer game tonight, Caris LeVert. That's the guy who's on my radar. That's who I don't want us to forget about. Domantas Sabonis is going to be Domantas Sabonis, and I do expect that the rookie Duarte is going to try to score a lot. He's going to try to get some points up there. But it's Caris LeVert who's going to try to be a superstar tonight. That's who I think is going to really try to show out. So we need to be very aware of that. Anyway, that's what I think, man. There's probably some other players on that Pacer team that need to be mentioned as well. I think Jeremy Lamb is questionable. He's also somebody who can do some damage. We've seen him hit some big shots in his career. So, yeah, it would be great if he doesn't go. And Malcolm Brogdon, too. That's a star-level player, Malcolm Brogdon. So clearly, if he's playing, the potential for him to play well is there. But I wouldn't play him. From what I understand, he has an Achilles situation that he's dealing with. If the Pacers are wise, they'll just let him relax, probably for as long as it takes for him to get 100%, because it's a wash season for them. It is, unless they can make a deal to turn their whole season around. But with their record, I don't think so. it's probably just best not to rush him back from any type of Achilles injury. We know how serious those are. So, yeah, that's what I got, man. Speaking of Achilles, we do remember that AD's issue was initially Achilles, right? I just want to be damn sure we're all aware of what the risk is for AD going forward, because I am on board with trading him because of it. I'm just being real. His injury concerns are enough for me. And it's not like I don't know what he is or what he can bring to the table, but you talking about knees, you talking about Achilles, you talking about a guy who's 28 who moves like he's 32 already. You can get a lot for him, man. You can get a lot for him. That's all I'm saying. My name is BDF44. Thank y'all for watching. I'm out.